What about Michael Peña screams law enforcement that you keep getting these cop roles?
Well, I mean, I just like these kind of movies, you know what I mean? These have been my favorite. Like, I remember, like Serpico, I like Dog Day Afternoon, like anything with that kind of action. There's just a lot of the cool action movies, you know what I mean? They're cop movies, so I'm like, I'm gonna do those. It's like Bruce Willis, you know what I mean? He plays a bunch of cops, and I also, my brother's a correctional officer as well in Cook County Jail. So he just actually, right when the movie's coming out, it's like, I think it's going to be his like third month. But the script was really amazing, and I think it had some heart to it, you know what I mean? That my brother's talking about, like the brotherhood, real brotherhood, in the with a lot of the police officers that, you know, work around the country and try to make this place a little better.
Well, this is one of those. It's a real cop movie. I mean, and now you either see it kind of where they go for a buddy cop formula, which there are some elements here, or you kind of see a bumbling cop or anything. But this is real cop experience. So, I mean, is that something that absolutely drew you to the script kind of when you read it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one thing reading it, and it's another thing actually doing it. We went on like 5 months of ride-alongs, like 2-3 times a week. And, you know, weapons training, and, you know, I'm not a police officer, but I definitely felt like a cop, you know, by the end of it. And then it took me like a month or two to stop, you know, stop looking around. It was like, it's kind of annoying for a little bit. We're like, you know, anybody riding around with me was like, what are you doing, dude? It's like, nothing, that guy, forget it.
Did you have to go through special training kind of to maintain authenticity, I guess?
Oh, yeah. David Ayer, the writer, he went all out, you know what I mean? We had SWAT weapons training, 4 hours a day, like 2 days a week, 4 hours a day, sometimes more, like 6 or 7. And just to take the weapon out of the holster, took us like a week, a good 20 hours. And I was like, enough already, man. Come on, buddy, I got it. But he was setting us up for something cool. Like, the hardest thing for us to do, was walking, talking, and shooting. Because you, like, if you try it, you'd be like, I know what you're saying. You're like, whoa! You just pointed the weapon to your buddy, and which isn't, you know, what you want to do. But little things like that, you know what I mean, to try to keep the authenticity. And if you remember, like, there's sometimes it's like, yeah, while you're still shooting at the target. Like, those little things are the things I think that the little elements that are really important for this kind of movie.
Did they put you through like academy training for the physical stuff?
No, I mean, I don't think they let you do that. But like we were doing, like, you know, sparring, Muay Thai, which is not a lot of fun, especially for an actor who's out of shape like I was in the beginning. You know, is Muay Thai, like, they actually kick you in the legs, and that's not okay.
I know they want to open it up for some questions. Did anybody have anything over here?
It was an awesome movie.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm glad you liked it.
And as a movie star, you know, getting paid big bucks to do all that. Most of us do this on a daily basis, and I just want to know your perception on what do you think, how we get paid to do this? How very little we get paid to do this? My wife doesn't want me to go back to work tonight. I just want to know what you think about our salary cuts, and what do you think that what would you do this? How much would it cost for you to do this on a daily basis?
I mean, I'm definitely glad I'm an actor, and I, you know, memorize lines for a living. No, I got to be honest with you. When I first started doing it, I was, you know, I was a little hesitant. You know what I mean, with the real police officers, and now they're some of my best buddies in LA. I think it's funny, especially in Los Angeles. You know, they got a bad rap a couple times because of like 5 incidents. But then it's funny that all the great incidents that happen every day, they do 5 a day at least. You know what I mean? Like, those don't make the news. So that completely changed my mind. And you know, there's like what they wanted to do. Like, you know, when we're doing ride-alongs, and they're like, some kids actually have like a favorite officer. They're like, yo, what's up, man? You know, how you doing? He's like, did you get into Harvard? I mean, to Howard? He's like, yeah. And he's like, going to college. And this is in South Central, dude. And I was like, whoa. And so we wanted to portray officers like that, you know what I mean? That aren't like slimy, like how other people might think, or dirty or whatever. And but I think, to be honest with you, that's the majority of the police departments that I've talked to and that I've been at. I don't know about a pay cut. I thought it'd be real to have like a little bump. You know what I mean? Because
we're losing money every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Wow. Hopefully they see this movie and be like, "Whoa, man, you gotta make it. You gotta make that."
Our mayor to come see it.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, man.
Well, when we're talking about doing the ride-alongs, I mean, how not sheltered, but I mean, how different is it to really see, I guess, humanity at sometimes its worst, and not in terms of the police officer, but in terms of what it is that they're dealing with on a regular basis. Because you're doing it for so long, I imagine you start to see things that even you yourself can't believe or didn't imagine was actually happening out there.
Yeah, no, at first we were kind of sheltered, I guess you could say. And then, when they said, "Here, put on these bulletproof vests," we're like, wait, what are we going to do? And that's when we really started getting into, like, riding along, and, like, they would make some T-stops, or traffic stops, and we would get out, like, with our bulletproof vests and our hats and our actor glasses or whatever. And we saw some gnarly stuff, man. Like, but they really know how to control themselves, and they know how to control the suspects. And our hats were definitely off to them. A couple of times, they acted really cool, really cool. And we did it with the sheriff's department as well. And they looked at each other, because there's this crazy nonverbal communication that police officers have. What was that? You know what I mean? And that they need to have in order to survive. You know what I mean? Like, they do some telepathy or whatever it is. And then the other guy nodded, and I was like, wait, he didn't even say anything. And then all of a sudden they were really cool. They took the guy out and they found like weapons, and they were like Crips. And it was like me and Jake were like, what the whoa, man! I'm not even from California. I was like, dude. And it was pretty gnarly, man. It's something that you don't necessarily like think of, and then seeing, like, rolling up and seeing like a suspect or whatever shot 5 times, like once through the mouth, and through, like, see bullet holes in his body, and meanwhile they're trying to ask him questions because he's still conscious and breathing, and he knows who did it, and he doesn't want to give up the information, which that doesn't really make sense to me, you know what I mean? But I don't know, we saw some really gnarly stuff, and that's another thing that changed my mind about it. Like, it's a lot of help to give, and I don't know if you necessarily get it in return.
Also, when you're talking about the film where you're seeing these guys' personal lives, off the job, did you have a lot of conversations with officers as far as how the job affects them, kind of when they go home?
Well, there's a couple things. There's like a decompression period, like after they get home, where they don't want to talk about work, because it is what it is. But then I found this other thing that, like, the police actually give each other a lot of shit in the car, and they're always joking. And I was like, man, isn't that a little mean? He's like, that's how we get through the day, buddy. And and they were like, and I was like, we gotta use that, dude. We gotta use that. And so we started kind of like making fun of each other a little bit more and show more of the camaraderie, and start giving each other shit, you know what I mean? And we did it in the movie. Hopefully we pulled it off.
Well, how much leeway do you have to kind of go with, like, how much of that camaraderie is built into the script, and how much is that, as David's saying, make it real, make it feel like you guys are not only partners but brothers?
Yeah, I mean, 98% of the stuff was in the script. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm not a writer. I can't come up with all those ideas and like whatever. I mean, we would do it like, we only had a 22-day shoot. It's crazy. We like rehearsed and prepared for 5 months, like it was war, and then we shot for like 5 weeks, which usually it's the opposite. Usually, like, you rehearse for 3-4 weeks or whatever, and then you shoot it for 4 or 5 months, 3 to 5 months. And but this one, we knew it back and forth. Knew the dialogue so well that by the time we got on set, it was just, we were just doing whatever. And he wanted us to do it so that I was driving in every scene, so that I would do the dialogue and still be talking, you know what I mean? So that it wouldn't look fake. There was a lot of little stuff that we had to do in order to try to make it right.
Do we have anybody else with any questions out there?
Great film. I noticed your character, he seemed like he came off as shell-shocked in certain scenes, and I was wondering if in the script, did he ever have like doubts about his career? You know, he saw a lot of stuff happening, and he would pause and he was like, "Oh my God!" But were you supposed to have like a doubt about your career in the movie?
No, not doubt about my career, but I'm definitely like, I wanted to play him human, like, whoa, this is happening.
Right.
And also I wanted to be a little bit different than somebody, because I talked to somebody who came back from the war, and I know a bunch of those guys, and I kept asking. And that was just a little bit of creative license as far as I'm concerned, because I wanted to show the difference with somebody who's like, you know, who's been in war and like just does it on how he was like on automatic. And then sometimes you do stuff so that you can emphasize the other guy's character. You know what I mean?
Great
So,
job.
yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, first I'd like to say I love all your films. You're
Thank you, man.
a great actor. And I wanted to ask you, what was the hardest scene for you to shoot?
Wow, man, the hardest scene was the first week of shooting. I had to like, the second scene I think that you guys saw was me fighting that black dude. Because usually in films you go, okay, you're going to do this? Okay, great. I'm going to block like that. And then attack me? Okay, good. I'm going to do that. You know? Come at me like this? Perfect. Got it. You know? And this one, David Ayer, he wanted to make it as real as possible. So he's like, all right, man. All right, start there. End up over there. And then, let's see. Yeah, stay right there. And you win. Okay. And then so I looked at the dude, and the dude was like, come on. And I was like, no, man, wait a minute. And so literally I was like, you know, just doing it. And I did a lot of boxing, but I was like, I had to block a lot. And I was like, I guess I didn't block that well because, in the first take it went like, and I just saw this big black fist just go, whoa, bam. And I was like, I literally busted my nose. And I was like, dude, on the first week, man, come on, buddy. And, but it was cool, man. We got it down. And you know, I snuck some in like by accident. Come on, guys. No, I did. I'm like, but that dude was tough as nails. I'm like, I don't know. But that was the hardest scene, dude. It was like the most physical and like, oh man, it was rough.
In other words, it was a real fight?
No, I mean,
Almost?
I try not to make it a real fight, but we had to do it for 6 hours, dude. So I'm like, after that, I had lumps in my head. I think it was going out of style.
Well, when you're reading what I call the OG scene, I guess, when you're reading that, how surprised were you that as a cop he's ready to throw down with a perp, I guess, and did you then go and check to see how authentic that might be? Because I mean, when it first happens, you're like, there's no way.
I love that scene because I will never say their names, but I talked to a couple of LAPD, and they said, would you ever, he's like, would I? And I was like, did you? No comment. And there's one guy specifically who says, yeah, I did it. What are you going to tell? I was like, buddy, I'm not going to tell anybody, trust me. And, well, there's this thing on the streets, though. I mean, if somebody calls you out that much, and then you're like, let's just do it, buddy, come on, whatever. They're going to give you a tough time. They're going to just give you a rough